Thank you so much. Um, First of all, welcome to this session of agriculture and agro-processing. You have received a framework for engagement, which is outlined in the program, and it says here agriculture is a key area of synergy between India and South Africa, with both countries focusing on strengthening food security, boosting export potential, and supporting rural development. India's robust agro-processing industry and technological advancements complement South Africa's diverse agricultural production, which includes high-valued exports like grains, fruits, and wine. I think I must also mention that the statement of our Minister of Trade and Industry during the launch of Isaac emphasized apples, pears, citrus, and avocados. And I think that is one of the first milestones that last month, the first consignment of our avocado pears landed in India. But before we start, can I briefly introduce my fellow travelers on the platform or on stage? Justin Chadwick, who is to my right in the middle there. And Justin was educated at Maritzburg College in KwaZulu-Natal. He holds a BSc in agriculture as well as a master's in agricultural economics, and he represents the Citrus Growers Association of South Africa. He's got vast experience globally as far as promoting the citrus industry, and he is fond of hiking. Then I have Raju Kapoor, please. Thank you. He's Director of Industry and Public Affairs with FMC India, Indian subsidiary of Philadelphia, USA, based global agricultural major in FMC Corporation. He has got 34 years of rich experience in the agriculture and chemical industry across various verticals and functions. Then our last panelist is Atul Chura. He is a Chief Business Officer of Star Agri Bazaar, a private limited entity, and it is basically dealing with most of the innovative and inventions in agro-processing as well as in the supply chain of agriculture. And he played a vital role in diversification of the group in agri-finance and agri-tech initiatives. And we had a lengthy discussion about the reorganization or re-engineering of agro supply chains post COVID, and how it was disrupted and how they came up, Indian inventions, with new technology. So if we have a brief overview, and I will only deal with headlines here, not with the detail. What is South Africa's key strategies insofar as agriculture and agro-processing is concerned? We deal with, and I'll mention in bullet points, regenerative farming, precision agriculture, increasing the number of small farmers, improving agricultural production, agricultural financing, and these are the key elements. Agricultural industrial fund is an important new development as far as a merging between the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Trade and Industry. What are the prospects of 2024? It's maize exports, and we will remain a net exporter of maize, which means that maize, the market in India for maize is a potential market that could be explored. Corn area, crop production is estimated as 4.4 million hectares, and that will be increased as we progress with the transformation or transformative elements of agriculture in South Africa to ensure greater black economic empowerment. What maize prices that will remain high is due to regional demand and a downward revision of the harvest. This has got a lot to do maybe with drought conditions in our neighboring states. Major fruits and vegetables, crops such as potatoes, tomatoes, onions, sweet corn, beetroots, apples, citrus, grapes, bananas, lychees, peaches, pineapples, and avocados are expected to drive the agricultural sector. And I think now I come to the more global picture of ensuring that we fight poverty, hunger, and ensure that we build a more equal society. So what's been happening in multilateral organizations, especially G20, our BRICS partners, there is a commitment. Our two presidents, they see each other every year at least. And that means that the meeting of the minds for us to utilize the space of our multilateral relationship is important to grow our economy. And that has filtered down in terms of what is called the Government of National Unity. So our two ministers, Minister John Steenhuisen has committed his department to ensure that the aspects of the former minister in terms of strategy is being advanced. In his budget speech, particular, and I want to pause on this, is the Farmer Support Program. And the Farmer Support Program, when it comes to potential investment, that South Africa is keen to do business. It has provided, whether it is in agro-processing or direct financing in production, incentives for potential investors. Some of it is it's vested with the Land Bank, it's vested with the CIPA, and it is also where certain agricultural private sector investments are due. So CASP, the Comprehensive Agricultural Support Program, has spent about 6.6 billion rand in 2,125 projects, benefiting about 59,482. Yeah, I will now step off these key areas, but I would like to conclude with a statement of our Minister of Trade and Industry, who said, action without vision is only passing time. Vision without action is merely daydreaming. But vision with action can change the world. And that is why we are here. We are here to change the world. We have posted South Africa one of our best diplomats, and ensuring that we are measured according to the milestones that we jointly will set in promoting trade in agro-processing and in agriculture. Thank you very much for allowing me to share with you some ideas, and we will now move on to the rest of the speakers to give input. So without any further ado, may I then ask Justin to kick off with his input.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm really excited to be here because this is the future. If you look at our food industries, we have over the past, exported most of our product to Europe. But Europe is the past, India is the future. And I say that because we are counter-seasonal to Europe, to India. So when our products are in season, products in India aren't in season. So we complement each other in terms of sending the products here to India. Just before the High Commissioner came here to take up his post, we met him much longer, and I said to him, we want to send 30% of our product to India in 10 years. We export, and speaking on citrus, but I represent the full fruit industry here, we export 2.5 million tons of citrus fruit a year. And if you do your mathematics, 30% of that is about 800,000 tons. So we have a big job ahead of us. We presently export about 30,000 tons, but that is up threefold from 4 years ago. So we are already starting to increase our products here. If you look at apples, we've increased that by three times in the last 4 years as well. And if you look at pears, 90% of imported pears into India are South African pears. So there's already a big footprint of fruit in this market. The High Commissioner said he wants to do it in 4 years. He wants to do it in his term. I think that might be ambitious, but let's have ambition. He's a man of action. We people of action, so let's try and make it happen as quickly as we can. But we must do it responsibly, because there's no use rushing into a market and oversupplying a market and not doing it responsibly. So we definitely want to work with the importers. And this morning I was at the Delhi market, and if you want an exciting morning, go to Delhi market in the morning. It's the most amazing place, vibrant, full of colour, full of people, and they move an immense amount of fresh produce out of that market, and it's where we want to be. So if you look at speaking with the importers this morning, what they said they like about South African food, firstly, it suits the palate of the Indian consumer in terms of taste, in terms of sweetness, in terms of colour, in terms of sizing, in terms of the price levels, in terms of timing, etc. So we really can produce the product that India needs. And this morning the DG spoke about tariffs. That's one of our biggest limiting factors in terms of growing this market. We face 30% tariffs on a lot of our fruit, including citrus, etc. We face 50% products on our tariffs on our apples. So we really, we need to be able to bring those tariffs down if we are to compete, and also to bring a good price level to the final consumer. There are already talks about perhaps doing a restricted agricultural tariff agreement, and I think that we need to look at that quite carefully, because from Indian side, we also would like to export some of your fantastic Indian vegetables and fruits to South Africa. So I believe if we could probably find 10 tariff lines, things like bananas, table grapes, persimmons, and other products that are grown in India. We also spoke this morning a little bit about BRICS, and we need to move on from BRICS being a political gathering to BRICS being a real driver of trade between the BRICS countries and now the BRICS plus countries. There's huge potential for us to export more to India, and there's huge potential for India to export more to South Africa. And I know that there's an agricultural trade group or working group within BRICS from South Africa side. Wandeli Shishkobo is leading that up, and I know there's good representation from India. And I think India and South Africa have got the same vision to grow our agricultural trade going forward. In terms of other challenges, there are also other challenges on the phyto side, but we're working on those and we're going to clear them. And then from the other fruit types other than citrus, you heard earlier avocados got access last month. There's huge potential for avocados to increase in volumes. We need to open this market up for our berries. I saw a lot of berries in the market this morning, and South African berries are really good quality. And then also for table grapes. I know there's a lot of production in India, but as I said, we're counter-seasonal, so we can come in when India isn't actually producing table grapes. And then I think finally, obviously there's a lot that binds us to India. Our cultural ties, our love for cricket, and various other aspects of life between Indians and South Africans. So I look forward to us getting to that 30%, whether we get it in your term, High Commissioner, or whether we get it in the next 10 years. We're going to grow this market. Thank you.
so much, Brett, or Justin. But our next speaker is Raju.
So thank you so very much for providing me this opportunity to be talking to you. As was mentioned in the introduction, my company, FMC Corporation, is among those largest crop protection companies and one of the leading innovators globally. In the sense that today in this space, we possibly have the most strong R&D pipeline that can deliver solutions at grassroots level. We essentially are operating out of 3 or 4 platforms. The first of which is cutting-edge chemistry solutions. When we say cutting-edge chemistry, essentially what we mean is that how do you innovate newer molecules that go on to protect farmers' crops without interfering with the environment largely and without leaving the food chain laced with residues that could potentially restrict the businesses of countries across the board. More so in the area of horticulture, where South Africa has big dreams, as I can hear. And India is, of course, the horticulture in India is growing significantly. The second area where we excel is the area of biologicals. We do understand that the consumer requirements for food has been changing significantly over a period of time now, and the consumer is today demanding safe food. And in the area of safe food, the kind of technologies that we can produce and bring to the farmers on either side are such that they could potentially open out large opportunities in residue-free food trade. The third one, which is again a very interesting concept in the sense that it was also mentioned by you as a priority area. One was regenerative agriculture, and the second one is precision agriculture. So we have a major investment in precision agriculture. This is essentially emanating out of a platform that we have created. It's called ARC, A-R-C. Our platform is one which kind of integrates the satellite imagery, the ground data collection, the environmental data collection, putting them all together and developing a farmer decision support system. So this is what could trigger the use or the intervention by the farmers based on science rather than on an ad hoc basis. There was also a good reference made by you towards smallholder farmers. I think we are very proud that in countries like India, India happens to be our third largest market, but in India we have launched a major campaign. It's called Smallholder Farmers Initiative or Project Utkarsh. This project is aimed at capacity building in them by way of knowledge transfer on good agricultural practices. As we all understand, I think a lot of wastages do remain in the agricultural supply chain. These wastages then cause financial wastages, economic wastages, making the products less viable for the global markets. On the other hand side, as I said, the environmental footprints of the food that we produce also creates significant challenges for us. So this is another area where we specialize and are kind of, with the experience that we have across the world and more so in India, I think we could actually be a big partners for South Africa in building up a very resilient food production system, which could go from One is building up on what you already have, and second one is possibly coming out with innovative interventions that would make those more sustainable and more attractive to the global customers, because they do talk about safer foods, they do talk about lower footprints of farming on the agriculture space. We also have an interesting vertical here, which is called services vertical, which could again be a very interesting vertical in South Africa. What we do here is basically, we are, as all of you understand, India is a smallholders market. Almost 80-85% of the farmers here own lands less than 2 hectares, which means transferring technology to them becomes a huge challenge. So we have developed digital frameworks which do capture all that the farmer does, all that the farmer needs, and all that the farmer should get and would get by way of delivery on the ground. So we have developed solutions around drone in agriculture. So we today are in the services business, where we do customized drone delivery of agricultural inputs to farms. Similarly, we have developed multiple ways by which services can be imparted to the farmers, making them more resilient and making them more viable, if I may say so. So we'll be open for questions and suggestions as we move forward, but let me stop here and hand it over to Atul for his piece.
Thank you so much. Hello. Yeah, thank you so much. And first of all, it's an honor we do part of panel with all you panelists. My name is Atul, and I represent a company called Star Agri Bazaar. This company has been formed in 2006 by 4 promoters who are coming from a very rural background in agri-economy in a northern state of India called Rajasthan. And when they started this company, they realized that there are a lot of issues in the agriculture value chain, and there are a lot of sustainable and business-wise very profitable ways to address this challenge. The first challenge which they encountered was there was lack of physical infrastructure for storage of agri-commodities, leading to a lot of wastages and leading to a lot of disparity in the markets. And we started developing warehouses and leasing warehousing, developing business model on that. And today we are about at 5 million tons of capacity at a pan-India level. We operate 2,500 warehouses, and we are the largest private sector warehousing company in India. The second challenge we addressed was the lack of finance to the traders in agri-commodity and to the farmers. And we started with some of the leading banks in India to collateralize the commodity and give finance against commodity as a collateral. And today, with about more than 40 institutions with us, we are having about 14,000 crores of credit flowing into the agriculture sector, largely to the traders and farmers. And way back in 2017, we understand that digitally, India was investing a lot into creating digital infrastructure, be it payments, be it mobile internet, and be it physical infrastructure there. So in 2017, we started this digital initiative called Star Agri Bazaar. And at Agri Bazaar, our first product was to create a digital marketplace where a processor can directly buy from a farmer, from his farmland, without having to worry about the surety on the quality, or without having to worry about the rate fluctuation, without having to worry about who will deliver that produce, and farmers selling with a very confidence to the processors and having a complete surety on that he'll get the best price for his produce. So we created a marketplace with a mobile interface for all the processors, traders, small farmers, and even started helping some farmer government cooperatives to start trading agriculture commodity on a spot market on a platform. And that was the first product that we launched, and today we have about 120 lakhs, or I should put about 1,200 million tons of stock has been traded on this AgriBazaar platform, and we have more than 60,000 participants on this platform who are transacting on a daily basis. Uh, and about 3 years back, we started to invest in advanced technologies with an objective to get technology to the farmer and to help them grow more and take a very informed decision making based on the actual facts on their farming. So we incorporated technologies like remote sensing, drones, IoT sensors, and we created a mobile application or a platform for the farmers. Today, as of now, we are monitoring on a near real-time basis more than 25 crops at a pan-India level. These crops are monitored based on what is the area under each of these crops, what is the health of the crop, what is the estimated time of harvesting, and what kind of yields we are going to get from this crop. We have mapped more than 400,000 farmlands, and at every farmland, we are getting information regarding the soil health, the soil moisture, what is going to be the weather predictions, and what kind of threats could be there on the crop. And this decision information is directly going to the farmers in 7 regional languages. They are using our mobile app to take informed decision making on what to grow, how to grow, when to harvest, and we are then linking them back to the markets to buy agri inputs or agri outputs. And in our next step, we are also looking at addressing the issue of credit, because we are now creating something like a credit score for the farmers, which can be used by the lending institutes to do a credit appraisal of the farmers and give them more loans based on their actual requirement, what they need into the farming community. We have been partners with the Government of India. I think Government of India is doing a very fabulous job on digitalizing the agriculture sector in India. There is a digital agriculture vision which has been recently launched at a budget of about $4 billion. And there is also a scheme of where each and every farmer, the farmlands are insured, called the Pradhan Mantri, called crop insurance scheme. And we are the technology implementation partner for that crop insurance scheme, where even the claim assessment is done using the technology. So that has been the journey so far in the agri value chain. But so in our view, we have started making some inroads into Eastern African nations, because there's a lot of international trade which is happening. What we realize is that with agriculture trade, there's a lot of risk associated, and only technology can mitigate those risks, reduce those inefficiencies, and make a lot of viability amongst the trade, be it among the different stakeholders or even trade within the countries. But there's also 2 more pillars to technology which are required. One, you need a physical infrastructure plugged into it, because you need a physical possession of the agriculture commodity. You need to verify the quality of that commodity, you need to ensure on that. And the third angle is on the financial infrastructure which is required to enable trades among multiple currencies and to remove any kind of risk which is there. So we have launched an international marketplace where we have set up our own delivery centers at ports in about 4 countries. We are helping aggregating the local produce in these warehouses, and then we are enabling international trades. This is, I think, only the tip of the iceberg. We have not even scratched the surface, but this is the concept which we are also looking at and which we are promoting, especially in the BRICS nation. Because if you look at the global agri trade, I think BRICS nation are having a lion's share. Either that these trades are originating from BRICS nation, or they are being consumed by the BRICS nation. So there is, we strongly want looking at partnering with all the initiatives to have a digital infrastructure backed by physical and financial backbones to enable seamless trades among various nations. And also a lot of technology advancement which is going into India, which I think India can be a brain behind adoption of technologies across nations, across farm size and across farm holdings. And we'll be very happy to exchange notes with all the leading agri-techs in South Africa and learn from each other and collaborate for overall development of this sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Prior to departure from South Africa, we had a workshop, and the framing question was, imagine a more equitable trading relationship between India and South Africa that works to the mutual benefit of both countries. What would that look like? We are living in a society that changes continuously. Our eating habits changes from consuming beef and mutton to be vegetarian. We also have issues related to understanding these trends and what we have to produce, when and how, taking into account the impact of climate change and global phenomena, whether it's La Nina and so forth. So, ladies and gentlemen, I try to frame questions here for a response, and we have had innovative solutions for agriculture and potential investment opportunities in South Africa insofar as the support that our government and the private sector can deliver on very, very diverse and big market in India, but also as far as agricultural products are concerned, that South Africa are in need of these innovative solutions to beef up our competitiveness in selling our product. So, are there any further responses? The Agri-Bazaar was mentioned, the new way of selling product, and let us also do it in an interactive way as a panel. So I'll give you, Raju, the first bite.
See, geopolitically, I think this is possibly the best possible time for both the countries to partner. Trading, I think we need to go beyond trading into partnerships. Now, what does the partnership entail? Essentially is understanding each other's critical requirements, meeting those requirements, and being fair, of course. These are all crucial elements. I think the way India, we saw that during the COP20 as well earlier, under India's presidency, when the African countries were also brought in as a member there. So I think India has a huge, large and a soft power for Africa. So thereby, India would be very keen to move many of the supply chains from other countries into India. That's how I read it today. So all depends is how do we pitch and what do we pitch for. As India is growing continuously in the GDP, the per capita income in India also is growing significantly. We talk about changing food preferences. The food preferences are changing significantly, and that's how you see the jump in avocado. Avocado is absolute alien to India, but there's a big jump up happening. The avocados suddenly are becoming what the youth would want. So I think the markets are there, markets are evolving. So great time to pitch for great South African production Indian market. On the other hand side, I think India offers a huge range of agricultural and food commodities. Possibly those could be a good portfolio of products to be taken back, and then maybe see how do we remain as partners on a trade balance, if I may say so, because I think it's equally important these days that as partners you are not only addressing your own export interest, but you're also looking at how do you balance that with the importing countries' export aspirations. So maybe that could be one.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about the critical value chains, I think the first is that, and there are a lot of importers in the room here, you have to share the value. It's no use one bit of the chain making a lot of money because the rest of the chain doesn't make any money. So we've got fantastic partners. When I speak to the importers here in India, they all know the South African exporters by name. They've visited them in their homes, etc. So there's a hugely good network there. The other thing is, in terms of equity and being fairness, is around the consumer and giving the consumer the assurance that the food that they're eating is safe to eat and is of the quality that they require. So on the South African side, every single one of our consignments that is sent anywhere in the world is checked for any residues, etc. And we also have a quality which is a bit different from some of the other exporting countries. Every consignment is inspected for quality and must meet a certain minimum quality standards. And then it's good to be with these panelists who are speaking about these things as well. And the other panelists spoke about the importance of information. And in the world that we live in now, everybody wants information immediately. You want to know exactly what volume is coming into the market, exactly what is being shipped, etc. And so I think we can do more in terms of sharing information through the value chain so that we make sure that what is delivered is actually what is needed in the market.
Just carrying from what Justin said on the information, I think this is one of the biggest downsides of agri trade. It is so prone to risk, which could be because of the lack of information. And India is investing a lot into getting a real-time information. We have a real-time tracking now of a lot of things. But I think there's a lot of way which both the nations can do to get on the traceability scale. And I say traceability, which is very important, especially from commodities being exported from India, but also from what we receive from South. It is basically from on what condition it has been grown, tracing right from the point it is being harvested, it is being sown in a field, right the point it reaches to a port and reaches to the final consumer. I think that traceability gets a lot of confidence in the trade and also mitigates a lot of risk which can be due to any surge or any downside in the demand or the prices. I think that traceability and information, disclosing that information real-time basis becomes extremely important for successful trade in agriculture. On the commodity side, I think there are two very promising sectors for outflow from India to South Africa, and that is basically because of I think there's a lot of change. India is a price-sensitive market because we have a lot of customers. So though we are moving towards nutrition-based food, but we are still at a stage where we have to look at the food security first and the nutrition later. But we have products like one is millets, which is it is a magical food from India. It can be it can be a very good product for South African markets also. And we have recently started promoting over there. There are a lot of health benefits, and it is also very economical in terms of the cost. It is very sustainable produce. It is on the weather side, so that is one area. And second, there's a lot of growth in aquaculture sector in India, which will find a very big market into South African market. So these are the very specific value chains which we can look at. But at the heart of it, definitely remains there should be an information exchange and traceability from both the states.
Thank you so much, Atul. I think the Minister Plenipotentiary indicated that we are now almost beyond our allocated time, and that we would like to conclude this part. We will be available for questions or direct interaction with ourselves, and if there are extremely burning questions there that you need to ask, please come. So thank you very much for participating in this session, and we value your presence. Thank you very much.
Clarence and to the moderator and the entire panel, thank you so much. This has been fantastic time management. I saw the clock, it's 38 minutes and we gave you 40. So thank you for that. And it was a very fruitful discussion and we learned a lot. One of the questions I have, but we'll take it up outside, is the cost to the farmer, because especially we talk about small farmers. But you know, this is what the session must do. It must generate an interest and allow us during the other sessions to continue the conversation. So our appetite has been whet, and it's fruitful discussions, as you can see evidently with the fruits on the table. So thank you so much. I will convene the next session in the next 2 minutes. Minister will address this session, the very next session. We'll have an adjustment on